Alright, so good afternoon. Can you guys hear me? Audible ako.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Madong
sir.
sir.
Tumagra sir.
Internet. Well, anyway, so alright, once again, good afternoon. So for now, for this afternoon, we will just continue with the reporting. So after the reporting, I will be giving you guys online activities to be submitted within the week. So deadline na mo until tomorrow. So kana lang. Once again, I apologize for not attending our classes yesterday since I have urgent matters to attend to. Particularly sa kaning gipamalihog ni Sir Afran ako sa scheduling. Well, anyways, right. So I also hope that you have submitted your materials in the Google Drive that I provided to you guys. Okay, I will also be grading those accordingly. Right. So without further ado, you may continue or start the discussion.
Great. Good afternoon, everybody. Madam mo ba ako?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Yes. All right, awesome. Okay, so for today's afternoon, we are the group three, and we are to discuss to you guys what is register. Register. Uh, this is not something we are not we are not knowledgeable about this. So it is familiar to us as register have already been discussed multiple times from different subjects, if you can recall. And these registers are described as a storage unit. And in the context of Verilog, it is still the same. It's still the same concept as being a storage element, but this time on hardware design. It is used in procedural assignment statements, which means that they store values that are assigned to them during the simulation or synthesis process. Can be connected to input ports but not driven like nets. And nets are typically used for wiring, while registers are more like variables that store values. And for other information, registers are register values has four: logic low, logic high, undefined, and high impedance. So as mentioned earlier, registers are type of procedural elements or storage elements that is used to store values. And what are these values? So it can either be 0, 1, X, or Z, denoted as high, low, unknown, and high impedance consecutively. And for that, we are already aware of what is logic low, logic high, which is denoted as 0 and 1. Low can be considered as off, and high is considered as on. And for the undefined or X, denoted as X, it signifies as a known or an initialized value. This occurs when the value of register cannot be determined during the synthesis process. And when this happened, registers may not yet be assigned a value at the time, or when a conflicting signal are driving on the same net. So what's the use for undefined, or what's the use of a register value of X, which is undefined? This can be helpful for us when we are to debug and indicate a logic error or incomplete design in the process of in the process of creating hardware system design. So in a moment where we are to create a hardware design, we can make use of a register value X to do some debugging purposes. And lastly, the last value is the high impedance or high impedance condition. It is denoted as Z and also indicates a tri-state condition. So in hardware, in the context of hardware design, this represents a disconnected state where no driving signal is applied to the register or net. Commonly used in tri-state buses where multiple drivers are connected to the same bus, but only one driver should be active at a time. So when we say tri-state buses, there are multiple drivers connected on the same bus, and it is needed and it is mandatory that only one bus or only one driver should be active at a time. And so the rest connected the rest connected drivers on the same bus will be on high impedance so that they will not interfere on the single driver that's using the bus at that time. And it is also used, high impedance is used to avoid conflict on shared data lines by allowing certain signals to disconnect themselves. So that's the thought. So why do these values matter? What are they being used in the register? Understanding the four values of register is crucial for simulating and designing reliable digital signals, as they will allow us to control and debug the behavior of register in different scenarios. And now that we have already discussed and had a quick recap of what a register is and what are its values, it's time to discover again the types of registers.
So now we have the type of registers. And first one is reg. So this is the generic register data type. A reg declaration can specify registers which are 1 bit wide to 1 million bits wide. A register declared as a reg is always unsigned. So this data type is typically used to store values in sequential logic elements like flip-flops and latches. And next type is integer. So integers are 32-bit signed values. Arithmetic done on integers is 2's complement. Integers in Verilog are commonly used for loop counters, array indices, and arithmetic operations where precise bit width control is not necessary.
Now, the next type of register is the time. So, registers declared with the time keyword are 64-bit unsigned integers. So, this register is used to capture timing information like delays or event occurrences, typically for simulation purposes where time-driven behavior is evaluated. Next slide, please. So the last type of register is the real and real time. So real registers are 64-bit IEEE floating point. Not all operators can be used with real operands. Real and real time are synonymous. So this register hold real number values or using the real data type for calculations involving continuous values like physical quantities such as voltage or current, as opposed to binary or integer types. These are often used in analog or mixed signal designs. Next reporter, please.
So register declaration syntax. So different types of register are declared depending on the data they need to store and the specific purpose of the register. So register are essential for holding values in sequential logic and procedural blocks. So the general declaration formats are as follows. So first, reg range list of register identifiers. So this syntax declares one or more registers of the reg type. So the optional range specifies the bit width of the register. For example, 31 is to 0 for a 32-bit register. So reg is used to store values that can change in procedural code like an always block. So second is the integer list of register identifiers. So this declares one or more signed 32-bit integers register. So Example, integer count declares a 32-bit signed integer register. So, typically used for counting or looping variables where signed integers are necessary. So, third is time list of register identifier. So, this declares one or more 64-bit unsigned integer. So, register used to store time values. So, time is used to handle simulation time or time stamping in a design. Next is the real list of real identifier. So this declares one or more 62-bit, 64-bit IEEE floating point register. So it is used for calculations involving real or decimal numbers such as test benches. And lastly is the real-time list of real identifiers. So this declares one or more real-time floating point variable similar to real but primarily used for time-based calculation. So it is useful for precise timing calculations or when more granularity is needed in simulation. So next slide.
Okay, for the next slide, we'll be tackling the typical register declarations. So let's break down the typical register declarations. So the first line, we can see the rig R1 and R2. So this line declares two register, which is the R1 and R2. Since no bit wide is specified, both R1 and R2 are 1-bit register for by default. So in use case, 1-bit register like this can be used for storing binary values such as controlling flags or simple states. And the example of this one is the on-off and true or false. So the second line, which is the reg 310 bus 32. So this line 30 so this line declares a 32-bit register named bus 32. The 310 indicates that it is a 32-bit wide with a bit position ranging from 31 down to 0. So in use case, 32-bit register typically used to store larger values like data buses, counters, or memory addresses. They can be stored any 32-bit number useful for larger computations or data transfer. So the third one is the integer I. So this declares a variable I of an integer. So in Verilog, integer is a special data type of storing signed 32-bit values. So in use case, integers are often used as loops, counters, or it perform arithmetic operations within procedural blocks. And lastly, which is the real fx1 and fx2. So this declares two register, which is the fx1 and fx2 of of type real. So real numbers in Verilog are used for floating points values. So in use case, real numbers are not typically used in synthesis for hardware design, but can be used full in simulation and modeling analogs, behavior, and continuous values. And next slide, please. And so for our last slide, which is our questions. So kanang pwede ra mo answer guys, kanang comment lang ninyo dire sa atong chat box, and then I'll be discussing what is the correct answer, and I'll be provide, yeah. So guys, so ang question na to is, are the following statements syntactically correct? So for number A, for letter A, is this yes or no? So comment lang mo guys, or you can open your mic if you want to answer. So yeah, answer is Rex. Yes. So yes, by. So the answer is, this is a synthetically correct. This statement declares three 1-bit register, which is the X and Y and Z. So in Verilog, when no bits range is specified, a rig is assumed to be 1-bit wide. So in letter B na sad ta. What is the answer? Um, okay, kinsa po? Letter B. Letter B, guys. Um, okay, so wala na yung answer so. So for letter B, ang answer ani niya kay yes. So this is also syntactically correct. It declares two 6-bit register which is the X and Y, which with a bit range of 50, which means each register can hold a 6-bit value. So in conclusion, guys, ang A of B is both correct statements. So that's all for our report. Thank you for participating, guys.
All right. Thank you, Group 3, for the wonderful explanation. No? So I hope, guys, you understood what was being discussed by the reporters. By the way, do you have any questions before we proceed to the next reporter? Okay. By the way, I forgot to mention that this discussion is being recorded. So, for future reference, pwede na ninyo matanaw ni nga kuan nga video or a session nato. Okay, let's have the next reporter. I think it's group 4, if I'm not mistaken. Sakto ba? Group 4. Okay, you may go ahead and take the virtual floor, and you may use the platform to share your material.
So good afternoon, everyone. So we are here to present about primitives. So next slide, please. So in Verilog, primitives are predefined module types. So they serve as building blocks for creating digital circuits and can be instantiated just like any other module. So also the Verilog primitives are sometimes called gates because for the most part they are simple logical primitives. So next slide, please. So primitives can be defined using the primitive and end primitive keywords, which encapsulate their behavior. So this is different from how you define regular modules in Verilog. So when writing your own custom primitives, you must start with the primitive keyword and end it with end primitive keyword. So in this example, the primitive declares a custom primitive named the AND gate, and the truth table is defined within the table and the end table nga block. So kaning and the primitive definition is also must be closed with the end primitive nga keyword. So custom primitives are useful when we need specific logic or behavior that is not covered by the built-in primitives. Uh, Next slide, please. So, moreover, primitives include more than just logic gates as they extend to other components like buffers, tri-state drivers, and pull-up or pull-down resistors. So as what you can see here in the presentation, they are classified as follows. So the first one is the multi-input gates. So multi-input gates are the gates that can perform logic operations with multiple inputs and produce one output. So this includes the AND, NAND, OR, NOR, XOR, or XNOR, while the gates that works on a single input to generate one output are called unary gates. So this gate includes the multiple inputs and produce one output. So Sorry, asa ko nahunong. Ay, God. Wait lang.
Dayon niya na lang sa daw pa dayon. Kaya wala pa si sir.
Si... Okay. Atot nila. Nagsad ko. Nawasad ko sa meet. Wait lang. No, di ko kakita sa presentation.
Hello? Ano guys? Madungo na ako. Please. Yay!
Yes,
I'm
sir.
back. Okay. So, I'm sorry. So, you may continue. Kung ask lang na ako ng Rosero, you may continue.
Okay, sir. So, while the gate that works on a single input to generate one output are called unary gates. So, this gate includes buffer or not. So, then here we have a tri-state, which means that it can produce a Z output on a wire. So, in other words, this kind of gates can propagate if the control signal is given. Otherwise, the output will be in a high impedance state, which is the Z. And then the tri-state gates are the buff if zero, buff not if zero, buff if one, and if not if na siya, not if one. So lastly, we have a pool primitive. So a pool primitive is one which can drive a one or zero at full strength on its output. So pull strength is weaker than the default drive strength, so it can be overridden by another primitive driving the same wire with a different value. So, kanang this pull primitives includes the pull up and pull down. So, the pull up forces a wire to logic 1 if not driven by any other signal, while the pull down forces a wire to logic 0 if not driven by any other signal. So that's it for my report. Next reporter, please.
Okay, so good afternoon. Madungog ka? So, before we dive into the example, let me briefly explain instantiation and Verilog. Instantiation is the process of creating an instance of a module or primitive so we can use it in our design. It's like calling a function in programming. We define it once and then we can use it multiple times in different parts of the code. Now, looking at the diagram, kining na ay and o not gate, we have an AND gate followed by a NOT gate. And the inputs A in and B in are processed by the AND gate, which outputs a signal to N1. Then the NOT gate takes N1 as an input and outputs the result to N2. So in Verilog, this is written as you can see on the right side, the first in the code is module test. This line defines a module called test. A module in Verilog is like a container for your design. And then next in the code is the wire N1, N2, and then semicolon. So wire is used to connect components. So maning wire ang N1 o ang N2. And then ang next kay ang reg A in, B in, and then semicolon. So reg defines inputs that can hold values. A in and B in are the input values for the AND gate. And then next step sa code kay is to instantiate the AND gate. Kini nga part kining AND gate. And then first nga gibuhat inig instantiate kay mag-define sa katong AND, and then kuan ang instance name, which is the AND underscore prim, and then open parenthesis N1 comma A in, and then comma B in, then close parenthesis, then semicolon. So kini nga part sa code kay gi-instantiate ang and underscore prim kay mao ang instance name, and it connects the output to output N1 to the inputs A in and B in. Ang next part sa code kay gi-instantiate na pod ang NOT gate. So kini NOT, and then ang instance name kay NOT underscore prim, and then open parenthesis N2 comma N1, and then close parenthesis dayon semicolon. So kini nga part sa code kay instantiate a NOT gate. The NOT underscore prim instance takes the output of the AND gate, which is ang N1, and gi-take siya as an input, and then ang output kay papunta ni N2. And then ang last part sa code kay ang end module. Kini nga part kay mao ang end sa module. So that's how we instantiate and connect basic primitives like AND and NOT gates in Verilog. Each gate works with specific inputs and outputs, and the wires carry the logic from one gate to the next. So next slide. And next reporter, thank you.
Hello, madungog ra ko.
Wait, ako sa kadlap to Bias. Are there any questions regarding with the previous slide? Can you go back to the previous slide, please? So, wala ra tayo questions. Ani? Nagets ra ang pag-instantiate sa kaning diagram, kaning circuit diagram into a Verilog code. Wala ra pangutan. Guys. Ayo. So, if wala kay pangutan na gid mo isa if naglibog or unsa ba. Sige. So, if wala ra, okay, may continue. Thank you, Tobias. You can go ahead and proceed.
Okay, I'll be the one to report the built-in primitives. Next slide, please. Built-in primitives are very straightforward. The output port is listed first, and the input ports are listed last. The AND, OR, and XOR primitives each have one output and may have as many input ports as desired. The buff and NOT primitives have as many output ports as desired and only one input. Another difference between built-in primitives and other instances is that a built-in primitive may be instantiated without an instance name. So, ang built-in primitives sa Verilog kay magamit ni siya sa kaning gate level modeling sa design, optimization o kanang sa simulation. Next slide, please. Key features of built-in primitives. First is behavior is fixed. So, kumpara sa Lime modules, mag-define pa ka sa kanang mga complex na behavior kay built-in primitives kay fixed na yung functionality, like example ang AND primitive will always perform a logical and NOT primitive will always perform an inversion. Direct gate level representation. When you use built-in primitives, the Verilog code is directly translated into corresponding hardware gates. This means that these primitives offer a clear and predictable mapping to the physical hardware, which is particularly important for optimizing designs for speed, area, or power. Third is efficiency in design. Using built-in primitives makes the design concise and reduces the complexity of the code. Instead of defining behavior using always blocks or complex logic expressions, you can simply connect the inputs and outputs through these fundamental gates. Last is no delays or timing. Built-in primitives do not inherently introduce delays or timing into the design. However, when the circuit is synthesized onto hardware, these primitives are directly mapped to the physical gates in the design, and their timing depends on the technology used. In Verilog simulation, built-in primitives are treated as ideal gates, operating without any delay unless explicitly specified by the designer. So that's it for my report, and now Jinky will give some example and questions sa built-in primitives.
So good afternoon everyone. So next slide please. So for some example of a built-in primitives are the AND, OR, and GATE. So AND gate is an output 1 only if the both inputs are 1. So if either our both inputs are 0, the output is 0. So it's like a condition where both things needs to be true for the output to be true. So next is the OR gate. OR gate is an output 1 if at least one input is 1. So output is 0 only if the both inputs are 0. So it's like saying if either one of the input is true, the output will be true. And then next is, and lastly, NOT gate. So NOT gate is invert input. So if the input is 1, the output is 0. So, and if the input is 0, the output is 1. So it's like flipping the value to the opposite. So that's all the examples. So we'll proceed to the questions and answers. So next slide. So guys, can you answer this following statement of syntactically correct? So can you guess the letters where is it's true? Can you type the chat box what letters A, B, or C, what is the correct answers? Okay, no one answer. So I will proceed. So the correct answer would be letter A. So I explain. So letter A is correct because it is used and negate with a delay and an instance name. So let's That's A. So the B and C was wrong because it B is initiate the multiple gates in a one line for primitives, and the C was use and uppercase is not a recognized for primitive Verilog. So that's all for my topic. So that's all. Thank you.
Ano tayo last? Are you... Uy, mo na tayo last. So, panubag mo inaunsa ni sila. Hello guys.
Yes, sir.
Ano tayo last eh. See. So, before we proceed to the next group, let's have our attendance first. I-check sila ako ha. Please raise your virtual hand or type present in your chat box or say present when your last name is called. So, di man mo manubag palain. Others can ha. Well, anyways, let's have Kabag. Kabag is not around. Naman. So, lag siguro.
Yes, sir.
Taralay. Hello. Sige. Once again, if kanang mag-lag bitaw mo or ako yun siguro ang lag lang type lang sa chat box or raise your virtual hand na para di na mo lag. Pero nagbabayan, maningog magdugan, may noon. Sige. Kanon niko, Kent, Kapisnon, Jiki,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Bus, Janice, are you there? Simiza, Rodin, hello. Codino, thank you. Dagde, thank you. De La Victoria, thank you. Felices, thank you. Gaba, thank you. Gun, thank you. Hernandez, okay, thank you. Ibarra, Lebron, paglilinis ko. Hello, hello, hello. Lagi nilapit, thank you. Mahusay, thank you. Marezo, okay, thank you, Mandreza. Mandreza. Uh, then let's have Nigre,
Present, sir.
thank you. Niada, Niada Skirvin,
Present, sir.
thank you. Omandak,
Present, sir.
thank you. Omega, Omeking, okay, thank you.
Present, sir.
Sagi Swan, okay, thank you. Sumalinog, thank you. Soralta, thank you. Texon, thank you. Lagan ako eh. Tuto, thank you. Villacampa,
Present, sir. Villacampa.
thank you. And Balizado, okay. Sige. So let us continue our discussion. Let's have group 5. Go ahead and share your screen and start the discussion.
Hello, hello. Mic test. Madungog ako.
Yes, bay. Madungog ra bay.
Sige, thank you, thank you.
Yes, yes.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and we are the group 5, and we will be continuing the discussion with continuous assignments. So, next slide, please. So, continuous assignments is also known as the data flow statements because they describe how data move from one place, either a net or register, to another, making it effective in representing combinational logics. So, for the syntax for continuous assignments is shown below. So, first we have the assign statement, followed by the drive strength and delay, which are both optionals. Then we have the list of net assignments or where the value is being assigned to. So, here are some examples. First, we have assigned W1 is equals to W2 and W3. This statement assigns the logical end of W2 and 3 to W1. It represents a fundamental combinational logic operation, meaning that the output W1 will be high only when both W2 and W3 are high. Next example is the assign strong 1 and pull 0, which uses the drive strength. MyNet is also enable, and in this example, the value of enable is assigned to MyNet, which specified strengths, strong 1 and pull 0. The strong 1 indicates that the signal will strongly drive a high value, while pull 0 implies that the signal will weakly pull down to low. Then lastly, we have assign with the delay 1 time unit, and Basat's cost to enable plus a condition. So this statement includes a delay of 1 time unit before making the assignment, and it uses a conditional operator. If enable is true or 1, then pass out is assigned to the value of data. Otherwise, pass out goes to a high impedance. So next slide, please. So continuous assignments in simulations are declarative constructs that establish a direct relationship between left-hand side and the right-hand side expression. So whenever nothing changes the right-hand side, then the expression is reevaluated and the new value is assigned na sa tong left-hand side. So as I said earlier, now we can specify the delays and we can specify the drive strength. But if wala, then the default value is applied. So next slide. So here is another example of a continuous assignment. So this is a 2x4 decoder, and we all know how decoder works. So we have here 2 inputs, which is in0 and in1, and we have 4 outputs, B0, B1, B2, and B3. And the output is just kanang depende ra siya sa atong combination sa atong input. So if both inputs are low or 0, 0, then we assign the value to B0. If 0, 1, then we assign it to B1. If 1, 0, then we assign it to B2. And if both are 1, then we assign it to B3. So next slide, please.
So net on left, madungog ra ko. Okay. So net on left. So the primary rule with continuous assignments is that the left-hand side must be a net. The reason for this rule is that registers get values at discrete times, but nets are always driven by a value. Changes to a net may happen asynchronously. Anytime anything on the right-hand side changes, the left-hand side may change its values. So basically, when using a continuous assignment, it is a rule to use nets on the left-hand side. So this is because nets always show the current value based on what's being fed into them. So whenever the value on the right-hand side changes, it is immediately reflected in the left-hand side regardless of when those changes happen. So looking back at the example from the previous slide, here B1, B2, and B3 are the left-hand side. And as per the rules of continuous assignment, these must be nets. That said, when the values of the right-hand side here, this is the right-hand side. So when the values of the right-hand side changes, the left-hand side will immediately reflect kung unsa may na-change ani dinhi. On the other hand, if we use registers here on the left-hand side, it will result in a syntax error because continuous assignments require nets to reflect real-time changes, and using registers will not do this required kuan sa continuous assignments because registers only get their values at specific times and waits for a signal for it to change its value. So mo na siya rule sa continuous assignment.
Hello. So madungog ra ko.
Madungog ra ba?
So for the next topic is about ports. So continuous assignments in Verilog are a way to assign values to wires or ports in a continuous manner. Meaning ang mga value ma-update ra siya automatically if na mo sa variables or sa expression sa right hand side. Similar ra siya sa pag-connect sa parent o child. So in a module, an input port is essentially a continuous assignment. So the instance port expression is the right hand side while the module definition port name is the left hand side. So next slide please. So here we have an example. So natay module diri nga gitawag og foo and it has an input and in and an output of out. So pag instantiate sa module, pwede nato siya i-assign as kaning kuan foo f1 source 1 plus source 2 and sync. So ang input katong in kay gassign siya sa expression sa kaning source 1 plus source 2. Unya ang output nga out kay gassign ngadto sa sync. So kani siya nga kuan pag instantiate kay pareha ra pud siya sa continuous assignment nga statement. So gamit ra ta sa nga kaning assign function. So assign in equal source 1 plus source 2 and assign sync is equals to out. So in both cases, ang in port mag-update permi with the sum sa source 1 o source 2 while the sync 2 mudawat ra siya permi sa value sa out. And so kani siya kay kuan ang port assignment sa Verilog man gid kay pareha ra jud siya sa continuous assignment nga ang instance port expression ug ang module port names kay sync ra jud sila permi. And nindot pud ni siya gamiton kay mas klaro man o smooth ang communication sa imong design, ensuring nga ang mga signals nga mo flow kay tarong ra jud siya in between sa mga modules. So next. Next slide please.
Hello. Dungog ako.
Klaro kay bay.
So, propagation. So, declarative statements in general and continuous assignments in particular are controlled by signal propagation. Propagation is the process of updating expression values and subsequently signals which depend on those values. It can be illustrated by the following. So, propagation, pareha sa ng mga plants ba? Ang propagation, madaan, ma-change, mabalhin-balhin mo ang mga value or ang plant. So, kanin natin, we have 3 lines of code. Then, mo niyang usa ka scenario. So, when in changes, kaning nasa line 1, kaning assign x is equal to f of n. So, when in changes value, say from 0 to 1, so nasa 0 una, then nahimo siyang 1. So, then statement 1 will be executed. So, kana ma-assign ang value sa f of n sa x. So, more precisely, the right-hand side expression fn will be evaluated. So, i-evaluate una ang f of n, and if its value is different from what it was before, so kung bayloan siya, so kung 0 na imong 1, then x will get the new value. So kani assign x na siya line value if na change ang value sa in. Then next kay if x has changed value, so nabayloan si x kay nana kay lain, then g of x will be evaluated. So kani sa second line, so kani assign y is equal to g of x. So g of x will be evaluated then in statement 2, and y will get a new value if the value of g of x has changed. So kaya na value man to ay na loan man tong value sa ino, so lain na ang value na x. Then kaning g of x kay iya man giko ang value sa x nga gikan sa f of n, so na bayloan na sad, so lahi na sad ang value ni y. And kani ikatulo, kaning last part na if y has changed, kaya nabalyuan man siya dito sa line 2, then h of y will be evaluated in statement 3. If it changes, then out will be updated. So kaya nabayloan man tong in, di ba? So 0 1, so nabaylotanan mo na continuous ba nag-ripple effect siya. Then out will be updated next. So continuous assignments are not executed in source order. So, mag sunod-sunod siya. Continuous man. So next. So kani morat gapon ang lines of code. So the result of this process is that when in changes in kanang parameter, the effects will ripple through all the continuous assignments which depend on it until all signals which appear on the left hand sides of the assignments are updated. In this regard, continuous assignments act the same as primitive and module instantiations. For a module instantiation or primitive input ports act like the right hand side of a continuous assignments and output ports act like left hand side. So kani iuna niyang evaluate ang right before niya ihatag sa ang value dito sa left, then padong na pud ubos na 1 2 3 nga line. So next. Then here is a question. Are the following statements syntactically correct? So kanang A, B, C. So you can chat lang sa chat box. Isunod-sunod lang ang Y. Yes ba, no? Like YYN, NYN. Di mo? Ayaw. So, sige kun, ayaw kun. So, manawag ko ron. Sige, manawag na ako eh. So, I will call 3 people, namely Den, si Gabriel, together with Umandak. So, ano may answer ni mo, Den, Gabriel, and Umandak?
One. Sa A kay yes. Yeah, sa B kay yes. Yan, C kay no.
So, you're correct, but you're also wrong. So, next slide, please, to reveal the answer. So, ang answer is sakto ka sa duha, but you got wrong at letter C. So, ang una, ang line A kay assign x of x is equal to f of y after na sa 10 time units. Then, ang letter B kay sakto gyapon siya. Kay, pareha tong mga lines of code ganina. Syntactically correct pa siya. Then, kaning letter C, assign x katong tri-state. Wala na, conditional ba na? So, katong. That's all. Thank you.
All right, so thank you. Group 5, Group 5, for the wonderful explanation as well. Thank you also, Andio, for helping with the class participation. No? So, salamat kayo. And thank you, Sad, sa mga concept. Kay, sakto po siya. So, it means ka namoy na learn. Yeah, char lang ko, no? Bitaw. So, let's have the next reporter. Group 6, if I'm not mistaken. You may go ahead and take the virtual floor.
So good afternoon, everyone. We are the Group 6, and we are here to discuss about procedural blocks. So procedural blocks are used to describe the behavior of a digital circuit over time. They come in two types: the initial blocks, which execute once at the start of the simulation, and the always blocks, which continuously react to signal changes or clock events. These blocks enable designers to specify how the circuit responds to inputs, whether through combinational logic triggered by any signal change or sequential logic triggered by clock edges, while always blocks are used to model actual hardware behavior. Initial blocks are typically used for simulation and initialization purposes. So there are two types of procedural blocks. The first one is the initial block, and the second one is the always blocks. And they will be discussed further by my group mates.
So initial block uh, always begin at time zero, single execution. So this is the context behind this. Initial blocks are used to describe behavior that should occur at the start of a simulation. Kita to ni siya sa pinakauna yun. Kanang example, initial begin. So, ingana siya. So, an initial block is executed once at the beginning of the simulation, allowing you to set initial conditions, initialize variables, or perform specific tasks like generating test signals. So, muna siya, like, kanang, muna yung purpose, ba mo set up yung mga initial value, mo run og setup for the start of the simulation, nag-execute sa siya, and when the initial statement finishes, the initial block terminates. So lahi na siya sa always blocks, which can run repeatedly based on the specific triggers. So mo na ang initial blocks. Next slide.
So next is the always block. So just like the initial block, it begins at time 0. So ang key difference between initial and always kay Merg na mention naman ni kadaghan kay ang initial block runs only once while ang always block kay repeats its execution after finishing. So more siyag mag-loop as long as na siya susod sa always block. So if there is no time or event control in the always block, simulation time can never advance beyond time 0. So, an example given sa katong notes kay always #10 clock equals kana nga symbol kay tilde daw basa na pero ato naibaw-an kay not symbol man na siya so not clock. So to explain kato kong giingon na ang always block ay muna siya nagtell na siya sa sud sa always block which tells na continuously execute siya throughout the entire simulation. Next, kanang #10 kay murag na mention sa ni sa past reporter hash murag nag-indicate sa delay. So, na siya delay of 10 time units. So, which means ang simulation kay mag-wait og 10 units of time before i-execute ang next line sa code sa sud sa block. Next, kaning clock equals not clock kay i-flip niya from the symbol from the bitwise function not clock, so i-invert ang sud sa clock. So if 0 ang clock i 1, if 1 ang clock i 0. So this pattern is commonly used to simulate a clock signal in hardware design wherein you want the clock to oscillate or like 0 to 1, 1 to 0 continuously. Next slide.
So the concurrent nature of the Verilog's procedural blocks overview. So first is the multiple blocks. So a single module can contain multiple initial and always blocks. So a longer design or model can have multiple modules, each containing its own set of procedural blocks. This means that you can have a significant number of blocks running concurrently, or the number of blocks running may occur or progress at the same time. Second will be the simultaneous start. So all initial and always blocks begin execution at time 0. So this means that they start at the same time. Third will be the no predefined start. There's no defined order in which these blocks execute their statements. So if two blocks are independent, you can't assume that one will finish before the other. Next will be the time and event control. So there is no guarantee that any statement will execute before or after any other statement, which is not in the same block unless there is a time or event control to establish that relationship. So the only way to guarantee a specific order of execution between statements and different blocks is to use time delays or event triggers. So these mechanisms allow you to control when a block should execute relative to the others. Next.
So, ari na ta sa question. Spoiler lang, ang answer ani kay letter I, C, or D kay ba mo mo answer. So, explain ako why. So, ang question kay what is the correct way to sample the signal X whenever clock transitions from 0 to 1? Yeah, 0 to 1 man, so rising edge or positive edge. So, atong pangitaon sa ato ang Verilog code, kay katong na ay at pass edge clock. So, with that, disregard din nato ang letter A o ang letter E, kay wala man sila positive edge clock. So, atong mabilin kay B, C, D, ug F. So, ang answer man I, which is C or D. So, nganong wrong man si B? Wrong si B kay naa siya unnecessary delay here kita mo after positive edge clock, which is could be problematic in a real design. Ya ang F kay wrong siya kay wala siya atong katong at na symbol, which is kanang dapat ang positive edge clock kay naa sa event control list. Ang nabili na lang kay C ug D, which is the correct answer, pero ang pinaka-ideal jud ani kay D. Kay ngano man, ang C di ba naka-mention to nga dapat walay unnecessary delays. Nya diri sa C kay nabi siya delay na 1 before X. Pero this is acceptable man kay gamay raman kay siya nga delay nya naman sa mga certain scenarios na kanang tinuyuan ang delay para sa unsay tawag ganay pag test bench or pag simulate. Ang pinaka-ideal jud the answer kay kaning D, always at pass edge clock sample equals X, which is walay unnecessary delays ya naa sa positive edge, and yan nagsample siya sa X. That's all.
Okay, so thank you. Group, sige mo group kani, group 6. So wala ray ano tayo last no. So no questions so far. Okay, so I hope nga nasabtan na ninyo tanan na. Sige, so let's proceed to the last group, which is group 7. So group 7, you may go ahead and share your screen and start the discussion.
Hello, hello. Madunggan bro, wait.
Hello, hello. Madunggan ra.
Bye.
Yes, bye.
So, we are group 6 and we are here to talk about task functions definitions. So first, what are tasks? Task may only be used in procedural blocks, a task invocation or task enable as it is called in Verilog. Is a statement by itself. It may not be used as an operand in an expression. A task is a block of code that perform a specific action, which can include multiple statements and timing controls. Tasks can have input, output, and in-out parameters, allowing for flexible data handling. Tasks can include delays and can take multiple simulation time units to execute. So for its usage, tasks are often used for operations requiring sequential processing or side effects like displaying results or driving signals. So this slide is belong to Janice, but Janice is not around, so I will be reading this. So what are functions? Functions are used as operands in expressions. A function may be used in either a procedural block or continuous assignment, or indeed any place where an expression may appear. A function in Verilog is a reusable block of code that performs a specific task and returns a value. It can take inputs and is defined using the function keyword. Functions may help organize code, making it more modular and easier to read. And for its usage, functions in Verilog are used for tasks that need to return a value like calculations or manipulations. You can call them within procedural blocks such as always or initial. For example, a function can compute a value based on inputs
and you can use that return value in your design or simulation, enhancing code efficiency and clarity.
Hello, hello, hello. So, nadungog ko no? So, um, on the first one, kaning example sa Verilog kay one, define siya sa one to read. So, which performs a read operation to specified address sa memory or data bus. So, it takes up 16-bit input sa atong address. So, money siya input from 0 to 15. So, representing the address to read from the outputs from 8-bit value, which is kaning sa ubos sa 0 to 7. So, mana siya guys. So, the task first assign the input address to the add bus register and enables the address bus by setting add bus en. So, one is iya, which is equal to 1. So, dari nag-start atong kuan, tong task. So, it then waits for the positive edge of the clock, which is the kani. So, wait for the next clock. So, waiting for it to be asserted before proceeding. Once the acknowledgement is received, so it assigns the value from the data bus to the output value. So, nag-indicate siya nga ang data kay has been successfully read. So, after reading the value, so it disable the address bus by setting the add bus en to 0. So, man is iya. Kaning 1, ang 1, kaning enable niya, 0, disable niya. So, and increments a counter, which is the kaning count. So, to track the number of read operations performed. So, overall, ani niya, this task is a synchronous operation that facilitates reading data from a bus in a controller manner, ensuring that the read process aligns with the clock cycles and is conferred by acknowledgement signal. So next slide, please. Hello, next slide, please. Thank you. So the next slide kay kanisiya aning mubo kayo, which is kuan ana pwede ra sad siya nga inanion siya. So silbi murag minubo to siya katong nasa babaw. So so the provided code kay nag-illustrate siya og do-read. So nga task within the initial block in a Verilog simulation. So it initiates the simulation by calling do-read. So man is iya atong same sa baba, which has the hexadecimal address kaning H00 nya, which reads the value kaning val. So ibasa niya. So following the read operation, there is a conditional statement. So one is the if, nakabaw ng dana, no? So if that checks the value or equal ba siya sa kuan kaning H81. So if the condition kay true, mo na siya, mo trigger siya warning display error. So on the console, indicate the discrepancy between a expected and actual value at the memory address. So the second to call occurs the address 0 I'm running H5A 5A. So also reading its respective value into value. So this code kuan demonstrates siya nga kuan kana testing approach in hardware description language. So where is specific addresses kay gibasa niya. So and return the value are validated against the expected outcome to ensure na fully functional siya o correct sa memory or data bus system. So next reporter please. Thank you.
Hello, hello. Madungog ra ko.
Madungog ra ka bay.
So, function declaration. So, function 16-bit output name relocate. So, this defines a function name relocate which will return a 16-bit value. So in the inputs, ADDR, a 12-bit input that an address. So in another input is the relocation factor, a 4-bit input used to relocate the address. So the function body, so relocate equals ADDR plus relocation factor shifted left by 12. So this is the main operation of the function. The function adds the value of ADDR to the relocation factor that has been shifted 12 bits to the left. So this shift moves the relocation factor to the left by 12 positions. So for example, if relocation factor is hexadecimal 2, the result would be hexadecimal 2 times 4096 equals hexadecimal 2000. So this value is added to ADDR to create the relocated address. So the count equals count plus 1. So this line keeps track of how many times the function has been called by increasing the count variable by 1. So the next slide, please. Low. Next slide. Hello.
Base nilag si Brian do. Yan, Lara.
So the function usage. So assign absolute address equals relocate relative address and RF. So here the relocate function is called with 2 arguments. The relative address. So the relative address is passed as the ADDR input to the function, and the RF is passed as the relocation factor. So the result is assigned to absolute address. So in the simulation example, RF is set to hexadecimal 2 and relative address is set to hexadecimal FFC. So display the relocated address is with the value from relocate function formatted as hexadecimal. So the relocate function is called and the relocated function is printed using display statement. And don't forget the initial block, and take note, function may have 0 or more arguments, but they may only be inputs. So thank you.
So that's all for our report, guys. Thank you.
Hello. Let's give everyone a big round of virtual applause. So at this part, since chapter 1 was already discussed, no, I will give you activities later. Kung lang ako ay upload sa atong Google Classroom karon. So I will not hold long lang for today. Please use our time to answer the activities. Talagaan tawag deadline until tomorrow. So ma-upload na ako later siguro kay ako sa nintiwason pod ang gipabuhat ni Sir Afron. So I hope everyone has learned a lot no from our chapter 1 of introduction to Verilog. So we'll continue our discussions next week. By the way, next week we will be having a face-to-face class na because I will be checking your embedded systems activities. No? So, kung lang mo, propose lang ko nga atong embedded systems ato lang ko anon ini Tuesday TTH para straight ang tulok oras sa sa atong Monday ng klase is mag-discussion lang gyapon ta padayon. Yan, sa soft dev sad magdisugon sa tag-discuss. Alright, so thank you guys for this afternoon. Amping mo kanunay and see you around. Bye-bye. Upload na ako later ang exam. I mean, please. See you. Bye guys.